In a world driven by relentless conversation, where every moment demands expression, silence has become an undervalued and misunderstood art. Modern society, with its constant chatter and incessant demands for attention, leaves little room for quiet reflection. To many, silence appears as a void, an absence of action, or a failure to participate. Yet, those who seek wisdom understand that silence is far from passive. It is a profound, deliberate state of being, an act of strength rather than withdrawal. Philosophers of antiquity, particularly the Stoics, viewed silence not as emptiness but as a disciplined space for thought, a shield against impulsive reaction, and a foundation for clarity. In a world consumed by fleeting emotions and unconsidered opinions, remaining silent is a rare skill that offers protection from the chaos of life and nurtures inner mastery. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, emphasized this virtue in Meditations, reminding us that control over our inner world is the key to navigating the external one. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. What if we could see silence not as a void to be filled, but as a tool to shape our character? What if every pause were an opportunity to resist the pull of emotion, to reflect with reason, and to act with intention? The ancient Stoics believed that true power lies not in the volume of one's words, but in the depth of one's thoughts. They taught that silence allows us to listen, learn, and respond with wisdom instead of impulse. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, famously observed that nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we might listen twice as much as we speak. This ancient wisdom reminds us that thoughtful silence is neither weakness nor disengagement, self-discipline in its highest form. It is the conscious decision to refrain from unnecessary speech, to avoid being drawn into futile disputes, and to focus on what truly matters. Cultivating a mind that remains steady amidst life's storms. In this exploration of Stoic philosophy, we will uncover 9 critical situations where embracing silence isn't just prudent but transformative. From dealing with unfair criticism to navigating ignorance, from confronting rumors to facing injustice, silence becomes more than a reaction. It becomes a strategy for self-mastery. Strategic silence offers an unparalleled path to personal development for those who seek to cultivate inner strength, sharpen their understanding of the world, and grow in virtue. Let us delve into these pivotal moments when choosing silence can lead to greater wisdom, composure, and a more purposeful and resilient life. In the ancient wisdom of Stoicism lies a timeless lesson. In a world that clamors for attention, the quiet strength of a composed mind speaks louder than any words ever could. 1. When being criticized unfairly, the Stoic strength in choosing silence. Unfair criticism is an inescapable part of life, often appearing when we least anticipate it. An unwarranted remark from a colleague, a disparaging comment from someone who misunderstands us, or even harsh judgment from those driven by envy. The instinctive reaction to such moments is almost always the same. Rush to defend ourselves, justify our actions, or retaliate in frustration. Yet, Stoic philosophy invites us to pause and consider a more profound response. Silence, not as a retreat or submission, but as an assertion of inner strength. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This teaching encourages us to shift focus from the external critique to our internal reaction. While the words of others may momentarily sting, they hold no actual power over us unless we allow them to disrupt our peace. Stoicism teaches that the essence of a person's character is not determined by external approval or condemnation, but by how steadfastly they adhere to their principles. By remaining silent in the face of unjust criticism, we demonstrate control over ourselves, something far more meaningful than gaining the fleeting satisfaction of a verbal rebuttal. Silence in such moments also provides a practical benefit. It creates space for clarity. In the heat of the moment, reacting impulsively can cloud our judgment and escalate conflict. A Stoic, however, recognizes the value of restraint. By pausing and remaining silent, we can assess the criticism objectively. Is there a kernel of truth that can aid our self-improvement? Or is it merely noise that deserves no attention? This reflective pause ensures that our actions are thoughtful, deliberate, and aligned with our values rather than driven by wounded pride or anger. Furthermore, silence in response to criticism communicates a quiet confidence, an unspoken assurance that our worth is not contingent on others' opinions. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." By choosing silence, we send a powerful message. Our sense of self is rooted in something more profound than the whims of public judgment. Over time, such consistent composure earns respect. People see that external pressures do not easily rattle us, and this quiet strength becomes integral to our personal and professional reputation. Imagine a scenario where a professional is unfairly criticized during a meeting. The natural impulse might be to react immediately, perhaps to justify their actions or point out flaws in the accuser's argument. However, a Stoic approach would involve silence, not avoiding the issue, but a thoughtful pause. In remaining silent, the professional preserves their composure, allowing their actions and consistent performance to speak louder than any hastily spoken words. This response diffuses tension and demonstrates maturity, self-control, and wisdom, qualities that will come to admire. In the grand scheme of life, unfair criticism is inevitable, but how we respond to it shapes our character. By embracing silence, we protect our inner peace, uphold our dignity, and cultivate a reputation for thoughtful restraint. The Stoics understood that life is filled with distractions and provocations, but true mastery comes from focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and our values. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In choosing silence when faced with unjust criticism, we embody this principle. We rise above the need for validation, anchor ourselves in self-awareness, and transform criticism, no matter how unfair, into an opportunity for growth. Through silence, we exercise the highest form of self-mastery, proving that true strength lies not in the loudness of our defense, but in the quiet assurance of our integrity. 2. In the face of boasting, the Stoics' quiet assertion of self-worth. In a world increasingly driven by self-promotion, where achievements are broadcast and validation are sought through public praise, it is all too easy to be drawn into the subtle competition of egos. Whether overt or disguised as humble bragging, boasting is a social ritual to gain recognition or assert superiority. The impulse to respond, to match one's accomplishments against another's, is natural. Yet, Stoicism offers a wiser path, silence, not as an absence of pride, but as an expression of inner confidence and self-sufficiency. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in Meditations, "The approval of others should mean nothing to you, for what is praised today may be forgotten tomorrow." This teaching underscores the transient nature of external validation. By its very nature, boasting is an appeal to something fleeting, the fluctuating opinions of others. A Stoic, however, seeks to anchor their self-worth not in the crowd's ephemeral applause but their character's enduring strength. By remaining silent in the face of boasting, we rise above the superficial need for recognition, signaling that our worth is not measured by public acknowledgement but by how steadfastly we live according to our principles. Silence, in these moments, becomes a quiet assertion of strength. It demonstrates that we are secure enough to listen without responding in kind. This isn't an act of passivity, but one of profound self-discipline. Instead of engaging in a contest of egos, we focus inward, reflecting on what truly matters: our growth, virtue, and purpose. In doing so, we cultivate a quiet dignity that speaks louder than any words of self-congratulation ever could. Consider a situation at a social gathering where someone begins to boast about their latest success, a promotion, a material acquisition, or a personal achievement. The temptation might be to interject with one's own stories to assert relevance in the conversation. But what if we simply chose to remain silent instead, offering only a sincere acknowledgement of their accomplishment? This deliberate silence preserves our composure and projects an air of quiet confidence. It shows that we do not feel diminished by another's success and that our self-worth isn't tied to comparative displays of achievement. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, warned against the dangers of seeking external validation when he wrote, "He who is content with himself does not need the approval of others." At its core, boasting reveals a dependence on others' opinions, a need to be seen and praised. In contrast, the Stoic remains detached from this need, finding contentment in living a life aligned with virtue. We reject the comparison game by choosing silence in the face of boasting. Instead of being drawn into shallow rivalries, we conserve our energy for more meaningful pursuits, such as self-reflection and personal growth. This practice of silence also fosters humility. When we resist the urge to boast, we remind ourselves that life is not a competition of outward achievements, but a personal journey of inner development. Whenever we choose silence, we strengthen our ability to remain grounded amidst distractions. We learn to detach from the noise of ego-driven conversations and focus on what truly enriches us: wisdom, character, and a sense of purpose. Moreover, silence in the face of boasting often leads to more tremendous respect from others. While boastful individuals may initially command attention, those who remain quietly composed leave a lasting impression. Over time, people come to admire the strength it takes to refrain from self-promotion, recognizing that true confidence does not need to announce itself. As Epictetus taught, know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. In this context, silence becomes the adornment of someone who knows their value without proclaiming it. Ultimately, the Stoic response to boasting is not about denying our accomplishments, but placing them in proper perspective. Life's true worth isn't found in public praise, but in how we live, how we think, act, and grow by our highest principles. The next time you encounter boasting, ask yourself, what do I stand to gain by speaking? More often than not, you'll find that remaining silent is the wiser course. Silence preserves our inner peace and reaffirms our commitment to a life guided by reason and virtue. The Stoic's quiet confidence is a beacon of true strength in a world that prizes noise and self-promotion. It reminds us that our worth is not defined by what we proclaim, but by how we live. By choosing silence in the face of boasting, we cultivate a deep, unshakable sense of self that requires no validation and no comparison, only the quiet assurance that we are living by the best version of ourselves. 3. When dealing with anger, the Stoic discipline of remaining calm. Anger can rise without warning like a sudden storm and disrupt our inner peace. It clouds our judgment, fuels impulsive actions, and leaves behind a trail of regret. In the face of provocation, it may seem natural, almost instinctive, to lash out or retaliate. Yet, Stoic philosophy offers an alternative that, while challenging, leads to far greater strength: silence. To the Stoic, remaining calm in anger is not an act of weakness but a deliberate belief in mastery of avenging one's emotions. Epictetus famously taught, "It is not events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of them." Anger is born not from the external trigger, but from our perception of the situation. We create space to challenge that perception when we pause and remain silent. Instead of being ruled by the heat of the moment, we can reflect on whether our reaction will serve any real purpose. Silence in the face of anger isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about tempering them, ensuring that our response arises from reason, not raw emotion. Imagine being confronted by someone's harsh words or unjust actions, a scenario that might immediately stir indignation, and a trained mind feels compelled to react, driven by a sense of injured pride. But what if instead we chose silence? What if we allowed ourselves a moment to breathe, to let the initial surge of emotion subside? In that silence, we regain control over ourselves, transforming what could have been an impulsive outburst into an opportunity for a measured response. This discipline preserves our dignity and diffuses conflict, often disarming the other party with our calmness. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reflected on the futility of anger when he wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" Acting out of anger often exacerbates the situation, creating more harm than the original offense. By choosing silence, we avoid escalating disputes and safeguard our mental clarity. This preserves our dignity and confrontation altogether. It's about engaging only when necessary and from a place of composure, ensuring that our actions reflect our principles, not fleeting emotions. Moreover, remaining silent in moments of anger conveys quiet strength. In a world where many view immediate reaction as a sign of power, the Stoic recognizes that true power lies in restraint. When we refuse to be provoked, we demonstrate an unshakable confidence, an inner fort that external forces cannot sway. Over time, this consistent practice of calmness builds a reputation for reliability and wisdom. Those who witness it begin to see us not as passive, but as deeply grounded individuals, capable of navigating life's challenges without losing balance. In the face of anger, silence also allows us to shift our focus from external provocation to internal growth. Seneca advised, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." When met with silence and reflection, anger becomes a teacher, testing our ability to maintain composure. Each moment we succeed in remaining calm, we strengthen our self-discipline, edging closer to the Stoic ideal of the sage, one who is unmoved by life's tempests. Yet, Stoic silence is not passive tolerance of wrongdoing. Sometimes, action is necessary, when standing up for ourselves or others is the right course. However, even in this, the Stoic acts from reason, not anger from anger. Silence becomes a preparatory tool, enabling us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This balance, knowing when to remain silent and when to speak, ensures that our actions serve justice without compromising our inner peace. The next time anger stirs within you, sometimes what will this anger achieve? Will it bring resolution, or will it create more conflict? More often than not, you will find that silence offers a better path. It allows you to preserve your peace, maintain your dignity, and approach the situation. As Marcus Aurelius advised, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In a world where anger is often glorified as a force for action, the Stoic chooses a different path. By remaining calm and composed, we cultivate a quiet resilience that speaks louder than any outburst ever could. Through the discipline of silence, we transform moments of potential conflict into opportunities for growth, proving that true strength lies not in dominating others, but in mastering ourselves. 4. Amidst false rumors, the Stoic strength in silent integrity. Rumors, like shadows, spread quickly and distort the truth. They thrive on speculation and feed on the human tendency to judge without understanding. False rumors, in particular, can harm reputations, create divisions, and leave the subject powerless. When confronted with such malicious talk, the natural impulse is often to react, defend one's name, confront the source, or seek validation from others. Yet, Stoicism teaches a more profound approach. Silence, not as a passive retreat, but as an act of deliberate strength and self-respect. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Rumors, being external, are beyond our control. We cannot dictate what others choose to believe or say. However, we can control our reaction. By choosing silence, we deny rumors the energy they seek to thrive. Instead of engaging in a futile effort to chase every falsehood, we preserve our peace, focusing on what truly matters, our character and our actions. Silence in the face of rumors is not an admission of guilt nor a sign of indifference. It is a declaration of self-mastery. The Stoic understands that their worth is determined by their virtues, not by the fleeting opinions of others. As Epictetus observed, "If anyone speaks badly of you, do not defend yourself against the accusations, but reply, 'You do not know my other faults. Otherwise, you would have mentioned these as well.'" This response, humble and wise, reflects a deep understanding of human nature. Engaging with rumors often only fuels them, while silence allows them to wither. Imagine a scenario where false rumors about your integrity circulate at work. The urge to set the record straight might feel overwhelming. Your reputation is at stake. But consider the alternative: remaining calm, staying silent, and continuing to act with professionalism and integrity. Over time, those who matter will recognize the truth through your consistent behavior. In this context, silence becomes a shield, protecting you from unnecessary conflict while allowing your actions to speak louder than words. Reflecting on the fleeting nature of external judgments, Seneca said, "Say about you is none of your concern. It is what you say to yourself that matters." Rumors are, by their nature, temporary. They rise, create noise, and eventually fade. What endures is the reputation we build through our actions, and Ione cultivates it by remaining true to ourselves, by remaining silent. By choosing silence, we prevent ourselves from being dragged into the chaos of gossip reflectivity in our thoughts and actions. Moreover, Seneca nice in the face of rumors conveys quiet confidence. It signals to others that we are not easily rattled by external noise. In a world where many are quick to defend and justify themselves, remaining composed in the face of falsehood is a rare and admirable trait. It shows that we trust in the eventual triumph of truth and, more importantly, ourselves. This practice of silence also fosters resilience. Each time we resist the urge to react to rumors, we strengthen our ability to remain calm under pressure. We learn to detach from the need for external validation and focus on living according to our highest principles. The Stoics' goal is not to win every battle of perception, but to cultivate a life of virtue and wisdom that speaks for itself, regardless of what others say. However, Stoicism does not advocate for passivity in all circumstances. There may be moments when addressing a rumor is necessary, significantly if it harms others or undermines essential values. Yet even in these instances, the Stoic acts with restraint and deliberation, ensuring that any response serves a purpose beyond mere self-defense. The key lies in knowing when silence is the better course and when speech, guided by reason, can bring about resolution. As you navigate life's inevitable encounters with false rumors, ask yourself, will responding bring peace or entangle me further in unnecessary conflict? More often than not, silence will prove to be the wiser choice. Let your actions reflect your character, and trust that those who seek truth will see it in time. As Marcus Aurelius advised, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. By embodying this principle, we rise above the noise of rumors, remaining unshaken by the judgments of others. The Stoic silence speaks volumes in a world where words are often useless. It conveys strength, integrity, and a commitment to inner peace. Through the quiet discipline of remaining silent amidst false rumors, we cultivate a life rooted in authenticity, proving that true strength is not found in defending oneself against every wisp, but in standing firm in the quiet assurance of one's truth. 5. How to deal with loss. The Stoic path to the Stoic silence speaks volumes about inner renewal through silence. Loss, in its many human experiences. Whether it is the death of a loved one, the end of a cherished relationship, or the collapse of a long-held dream, loss leaves us in a state of vulnerability, exposed to the raw intensity of grief and longing. The typical response to loss is often a desperate attempt to fill the void with distractions, words, or futile efforts to regain what has been taken. Yet, Stoicism offers a different approach. Silence, not as avoidance, but as a means to embrace the process and ultimately transform loss into inner strength. In his Reflections on Adversity, Seneca wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." This poignant observation reminds us that life's transient nature is something we must all confront. To the Stoics, loss is not a punishment, but an inevitable reality that invites us to reflect on the impermanence of all things. In moments of loss, silence becomes a space to face this reality without denial. In this quiet, still Seneca we find the courage to accept what we cannot change. Consider someone who has just experienced the end of a profoundly significant relationship. The immediate reaction may be to seek comfort in conversation, to replay events endlessly, or to fill the emptiness with noise and activity. But what if instead they chose silence? What if they allowed themselves to sit with the pain, to truly feel the weight of what has been lost in this quiet stillness? By doing so, they begin the Stoic renewal process, acknowledging the loss, understanding its lessons, and gradually cultivating the strength to move forward. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, reflected on the fleeting nature of life with the words, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This stark yet liberating perspective reminds us that loss is not an aberration but an integral part of life's cycle. We create the mental space through silence to internalize this truth, allowing us to approach future losses with greater resilience and wisdom. Rather than being consumed by grief, we learn to see loss as an opportunity to grow in acceptance, patience, and clarity. Moreover, silence during loss protects us from the noise of external influences. Well-meaning friends may offer hollow platitudes, and societal pressures may urge us to move on. By choosing silence, we, through silence, keep ourselves from these distractions, allowing our healing process to unfold naturally. We permit ourselves to grieve fully without the burden of others' expectations. This quiet introspection fosters genuine healing as we confront our emotions directly rather than suppressing or masking them. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control external events, we can control our response to them. Loss is no exception. Epictetus, the best use of your power is to choose silence and take the rest as it happens. In moments of loss, silence becomes an exercise in this very principle. We cannot undo what has been lost, but we can choose how we internalize the experience. We turn suffering into wisdom and sorrow into strength through reflection and contemplation. Furthermore, silence allows us to shift our focus from what is gone to what remains. Reflecting on life's brevity, Seneca encouraged us to view every moment as a gift. By embracing silence, we create space for gratitude, not only for what we still have but also for what we once held. This perspective transforms loss into a deeper appreciation for life's fleeting beauty. In this way, silence becomes a practice of mindful presence, anchoring us in the here and now. The Stoic approach to loss is not about denying our emotions but reflecting on life's brevity. Seneca offers the clarity needed to separate what we can learn from the experience from what we must simply let go of. It teaches us to grieve without being overwhelmed, to reflect without being consumed, and to move forward without forgetting. Each moment of silent reflection strengthens our ability to face future losses with dignity and courage. In a world that often demands constant distraction, the Stoic stands as a powerful counterbalance. It reminds us that true strength is found not in avoiding pain, but in confronting it with composure. By choosing silence in the face of loss, we cultivate a deeper understanding of life's impermanence and a greater capacity for inner peace. So, when loss inevitably comes, pause, sit in silence, reflect on what remains, and ask yourself, what can I learn? How can this experience help me grow? In doing so, you honor what was lost and the strength that endures within you. As Marcus Aurelius aptly said, loss is nothing but change, and change is nature's delight. Through silence, we embrace this truth, transforming loss from a source of suffering into a path toward wisdom, renewal, and profound personal growth. 6. Navigating ignorance with Stoic grace, the quiet strength of composed silence. Ignorance is a fact of life. It manifests in countless forms: misguided opinions, uninformed declarations, and stubborn refusal to see reason. Encounters with ignorance are inevitable, whether in personal relationships, workplace discussions, or public discourse. When faced with such ignorance, the immediate instinct is often to correct, argue, or prove oneself right. Yet Stoicism offers a more thoughtful response. Silence, not as surrender, but as a conscious demonstration of grace, wisdom, and inner strength. Epictetus, one of the most revered Stoic thinkers, advised, "It is impossible to teach a man who believes he already knows." This insight underscores a fundamental truth. Attempting to correct those who are win adds only to frustration and the immediate instinct of conflict. Ignorance is not merely a lack of knowledge. It is often a product of arrogance or closed-mindedness. In such situations, engaging in argument does little more than escalate tensions. We rise above the noise by choosing silence, preserving our dignity and mental clarity. Consider a scenario where a colleague dismisses your ideas in a meeting without understanding the whole picture. The urge to defend your position or point out their lack of understanding can be intense. But what if instead you chose silence? What if you allowed your actions and future results to speak for themselves? In doing so, you avoid unnecessary conflict and demonstrate a quiet confidence that others will recognize your dignity. Silence becomes a form of self-assurance, a refusal to be drawn into unproductive disputes. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in Meditations, the best way to avenge yourself is to not become like your enemy. When dealing with ignorance, reacting with anger or frustration only pulls us to the same level. Maintaining silence, we uphold our composure and refuse to engage in petty conflicts. This approach preserves our peace and reflects a higher standard of conduct, inspiring respect from those who witness it. Silence, however, does not mean passivity. The Stoic does not remain silent out of fear or submission, but out of the recognition that not every battle is worth fighting. Engaging with ignorance often drains energy that could be better spent on personal growth, meaningful pursuits, or more constructive conversations. As Seneca wisely preserves our peace and cannot afford to waste, silence becomes a way of conserving our most valuable resource, our time and focus. Furthermore, silence in the face of ignorance fosters deeper self-awareness. We can reflect on our motivations when we resist the urge to react impulsively. Why do we feel the need to correct others? Is it truly to help, or is it driven by ego, the desire to be seen as correct? This introspection helps us cultivate humility, one of the core virtues of M. It reminds us that while we may possess knowledge in certain areas, there are countless things we do not yet understand. By embracing silence, we acknowledge that learning is a lifelong process, and wisdom often lies in knowing when to speak and when to listen. Additionally, silence can serve as a subtle yet powerful influence. When we refrain from engaging in fruitless arguments, we model a different way of handling ignorance, one rooted in patience, composure, and respect. Over time, this quiet strength can prompt others to reflect on their behavior. While words may provoke defensiveness, silence often inspires introspection. In this way, the Stoic silence becomes not just a personal shield but a tool for fostering greater understanding in the long run. It's important to note that Stoic silence is not absolute. There are moments when speaking up is necessary, when ignorance harms others or silence implies complicity in wrongdoing. However, even in these situations, the Stoic speaks with restraint and purpose, ensuring their words are guided by reason rather than emotion. This balance between silence and speech gives Stoic communication its unique power: deliberate, thoughtful, and aimed at resolution, not domination. When confronted by ignorance, pause and ask yourself, will my words bring clarity, or will they add to the noise? If speaking serves no higher purpose, silence may be the wiser choice. Let your composure reflect your strength, your silence a testament to your wisdom. In doing so, you maintain your peace and cultivate the respect of those who witness your calm demeanor. As Epictetus taught, know first who you are and then act accordingly. We affirm our commitment to living with integrity, discipline, and wisdom by remaining silent in ignorance. In a world that often rewards loudness and impulsivity, the Stoic silence is a quiet rebellion, a reminder that true strength lies not in dominating or mastering oneself. This cultivation creates inner tranquility and a deeper understanding of the world around us, proving that sometimes the most potent response is no response. 7. When confronted by rumors, the Stoics' quiet triumph over falsehood. Rumors are as ancient as human society itself. They travel swiftly, feeding on speculation and thriving in environments where sensationalism often overshadows truth. Being the subject of a rumor, especially one that is false, can evoke a strong emotional response: indignation, frustration, or even fear. The natural reaction is confronting the source, explaining the truth, or seeking validation from others. Yet, the Stoic path offers a more profound and practical response: silence, not as an act of weakness, but as a demonstration of steadfast integrity and inner confidence. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This reflection urges us to detach from the external noise of confronting the source, explaining that we can control, seeking our actions. When faced with rumors, reacting impulsively often fuels the fire, giving falsehoods the attention they crave. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to remain silent, trusting that time and truth will eventually reveal themselves. Imagine finding yourself at the center of an unfounded rumor at work. The immediate impulse might be to gather allies, set the record straight, or publicly refute the claims. But what if you maintained your composure instead, remaining focused on your work and letting your consistent actions speak for themselves? In doing so, you send a powerful message. Your character is not dictated by others' perceptions, but by your unwavering commitment to integrity. Silence becomes a shield, protecting you from the chaos of rumor-driven conflict while allowing you to preserve your peace. Seneca offered a timeless piece of wisdom: when others say about you is beyond your control, what you say to yourself matters infinitely more. The Stoic understands that external reputation is fragile and subject to the whims of others. What endures is the inner reputation we hold with ourselves, the quiet assurance that we are living by our values. By choosing silence in the face of rumors, we refuse to give power to fleeting opinions, anchoring ourselves in the unshakable foundation of self-awareness and virtue. Furthermore, silence in response to rumors conveys a unique form of strength. In a world where many rush to defend themselves, remaining calm amidst falsehood signals a deep inner confidence. It shows that you are not dependent on others' opinions for your sense of worth. Over time, this quiet strength earns the respect of those around you. People see that external pressures do not easily sway you, that your actions, not your words, define your character. There is also a strategic element to Stoic silence in the face of rumors. Engaging with every falsehood can drain your energy and distract you from your higher goals. The Stoic approach ensures that your time and focus are directed toward what truly matters: your growth, purpose, and well-being. Instead of becoming entangled in unnecessary external pressures, it does not easily sway you if your life into your life to emerge naturally from your actions. However, Stoic silence does not imply passivity in all situations. Speaking up may be necessary when rumors threaten to harm others or undermine essential values. Yet, even in these moments, the Stoic speaks with purpose and restraint, ensuring that their words serve a higher purpose rather than being driven by emotion. This balance, knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, demonstrates true wisdom and mastery over oneself. In moments when you find yourself the subject of a rumor, ask yourself, will reacting and speaking up be necessary to bring clarity, or will it simply add to the noise? More often, silence is the wiser path. Let your actions, guided by virtue, become your voice. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. By embodying this principle, you transform rumors into opportunities to cultivate resilience and fortitude. In a world where words are often wielded carelessly, the Stoic silence stands out as a beacon of strength and dignity. It reminds us that our worth is not defined by what others say, but by how we live. By choosing silence in the face of rumors, we rise above the noise, remaining steadfast in our commitment to a life of virtue, clarity, and purpose. Through this practice, we cultivate an unshakable inner peace, proving that sometimes the most potent response is the quiet confidence of a composed mind. 8. When confronted with injustice, the Stoics' calm resolve in the face of adversity. Injustice, with its sharp sting and undeniable presence, is something we will encounter at some point in life. The instinctive reaction is often an outrage, whether as being unfairly treated at work, overlooked in a relationship, or witnessing broader societal wrongs. The urge to protest, to fight back, and to demand immediate correction feels natural. However, Stoicism teaches us a different response: calm resolve and composed action, with silence as the first step. To the Stoic, facing injustice is not about emotional retaliation, but about responding with thoughtful, deliberate strength. Epictetus wisely said, "Bear and forbear." This succinct Stoic maxim encourages us to endure hardships gracefully and to exercise restraint in our reactions. When confronted with injustice, silence is not a passive acceptance of wrongdoing. It is an intentional pause that allows us to regain control over our emotions before deciding the best course of action. Though understandable in the face of injustice, anger often leads to impulsive decisions that can cause more harm than good. By choosing silence, we protect ourselves from reacting out of frustration and ensure that our response is guided by reason. Consider a situation where you are wrongly blamed for a mistake in a professional setting. The immediate impulse is to defend yourself vocally, pointing fingers to redirect the blame. But you chose to remain silent, allowing the initial storm to pass while you reflect on the most constructive response. This silence does not signify weakness. It demonstrates strength, composure, and the ability to remain unshaken by external chaos. In time, your calm demeanor will set you apart, earning respect and providing clarity that rash reactions could never achieve. Reflecting on the nature of injustice, Marcus Aurelius wrote, The best way yourself is not to become instead like your enemy. This Stoic insight reminds us that reacting with hostility or bitterness only lowers us to the level of those who wrong us. Maintaining our integrity and refusing to be provoked, we preserve our character and remain true to our principles. Silence in the face of injustice becomes a shield, not to ignore the wrongdoing, but to reflect while we determine the most Marcus Aurelius effective way to address the situation. Furthermore, silence allows us to assess the broader context of the injustice. Is this a situation requiring immediate action, or will it be resolved quickly? Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control. While we may not always be able to prevent injustice, we can control how we respond. Silence provides the space to reflect on what can be done without being overwhelmed by the initial emotional surge. It ensures that our response is measured, purposeful, and aligned with our values when we speak or act. Stoic silence is not a will in moments when addressing injustice, which is not only necessary but morally imperative. The key is to act with clarity and composure, not out of blind emotion. When a response is required, the Stoic speaks calmly and decisively, ensuring their actions serve justice rather than personal vengeance. This balance between silence and action distinguishes the Stoic approach. It is neither passive nor impulsive, but deliberate and thoughtful. Reflecting on the nature of hardship, Seneca observed, "It is not that we should fear adversity, but that we should fear our reaction to it. Injustice, like other forms of adversity, tests our character. By remaining silent initially, we give ourselves the chance to rise above the immediate circumstances, responding not with rage but with wisdom. Each instance of injustice becomes an opportunity to practice patience, resilience, and the art of thoughtful reflecting that often glorifies loud Seneca. Reactive responses, the Stoics' calm resolve stands as a quiet but powerful counterpoint. Silence in the face of injustice is not about ignoring what is wrong. It is about mastering oneself so that when the time comes to act, one acts from a place of strength, not weakness. By choosing this path, we maintain our inner peace and demonstrate a higher standard of conduct that inspires others and fosters meaningful change. So, when you find yourself confronted by injustice, pause. Ask yourself, what is within my control? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my highest principles? More often than not, silence will be the first, wisest step. Let your calm resolve reflect your strength. When you speak, let your words carry the weight of thoughtful reflection. As Marcus Aurelius advised, be tolerant of others and strict with yourself. Through this practice, we rise above the chaos of injustice, transforming moments of adversity into opportunities for growth, wisdom, and lasting strength. 9. How to handle insults. The Stoic shield of composure and inner strength. Insults, whether subtle or reflect our sense of pride, can produce powerful emotional reactions. They often come unexpectedly, leaving us feeling vulnerable or indignant. The immediate impulse may be to retaliate, defend ourselves, or respond kindly, believing such a reaction will restore our dignity. However, the Stoic approach invites us to consider a different response: silence. For the Stoic, enduring insults with composure is not togetherness but a profound insult exercise in self-mastery and emotional resilience. Epictetus, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, taught, if someone speaks ill of you, remember that they are acting according to their judgment. It is your job to act according to yours. This insight reminds us that insults are opinions, often ungrounded and subjective. The actual harm of an insult lies not in the words themselves, but in how we interpret and react to them. By remaining silent, we deny the insulter the satisfaction of disrupting our peace. We demonstrate that our self-worth is rooted in something more profound than the fleeting judgments of others. Imagine being publicly insulted during a meeting or social gathering. The temptation to respond with a sharp remark or defend your honor as strong. Yet, what if you chose silence instead? What if you allowed the moment to pass without giving it power? In that silence, you communicate something far more potent than words ever could, a quiet confidence that reveals you are not easily shaken. Over time, this consistent practice of composure builds a reputation for being unflappable, someone who cannot be provoked into petty disputes. Marcus Aurelius reflected on the nature of insults in Meditations, writing, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." This Stoic principle underscores the idea that insults only harm us if we allow them to. By choosing silence, we refuse to internalize the insult, thereby stripping it of its intended effect. Instead of reacting impulsively, we maintain control over our emotions, turning what could have been a moment of weakness into a demonstration of strength. Moreover, silence in the face of insults provides a practical advantage. It prevents escalation. Engaging with insults often leads to a back-and-forth exchange that accomplishes little beyond increasing tension. By remaining silent, we preserve our peace and defuse potential conflicts. This approach reflects a higher level of maturity, showing that we prioritize reason over ego-driven reactions. Seneca, reflecting on the futility of engaging with insults, advised, "It is a mark of great character to remain unaffected by the opinions of others." This teaching encourages us to detach from the need for external validation. Insults are opportunities to strengthen our emotional resilience when viewed through the Stoic lens. Each time we resist the urge to react, we reinforce our ability to remain calm in the face of provocation, gradually cultivating an inner fortress that mere words cannot breach. Furthermore, silence in response to insults fosters humility. It reminds us that our worth does not hinge on defending our pride, but on living by our values. When we choose silence, we rise above insults and immediate emotion, affirming that others' perceptions do not define us. Instead, we focus on what truly matters: our character, actions, and commitment to personal growth. However, Stoic silence and mere words cannot breach all forms of mistreatment. In some situations, speaking up is necessary, particularly when an insult crosses into harmful behavior that affects others. Yet, even in these instances, the Stoic speaks with restraint and purpose, ensuring that their other perceptions do not define us as a reaction driven by wounded pride. The next time you find yourself the target of an insult, pause and ask yourself, does this insult truly define me? Or is it merely noise that in some situations, you will often find that silence is the wiser path. Refusing to react protects your inner tranquility and projects a sense of unshakable self-assurance. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In a world where reacting impulsively is often mistaken for strength, the Stoic silence is a testament to true power. It reflects a mastery over the self, an ability to remain composed, dignified, and focused on what truly matters. Through silence, we cultivate resilience and deep self-respect, proving that real strength lies not in loud retaliation but in quiet, unwavering composure. Conclusion: life gives us endless opportunities to speak, react, and assert ourselves. Yet, it is in choosing when to remain silent that we uncover a more profound strength not driven by ego, wisdom, and self-mass resilience endless teachings. It reminds us that silence is not merely the absence of sound, but a deliberate, powerful state of being. In the face of unfair criticism, ignorance, rumors, or insults, silence becomes more than a reaction. It becomes a shield that guards our peace and a tool that sours our character. Through the art of, we learn to navigate life's challenges with clarity, composure, and grace. In a world that often glorifies noise and impulsive responses, the ability to remain calm and thoughtful sets us apart. It allows us to rise above the chaos, focus on what truly matters, and cultivate a life rooted in purpose, wisdom, and inner tranquility. As you continue your journey of self-mastery, remember the power of silence. It is not a weakness but a choice to act with intention, to preserve your energy for what is meaningful, and to live a life guided by reason rather than emotion. Every moment you choose silence over impulsivity, you strengthen your ability to lead a more centered, resilient, and fulfilling life. If you found value in these Stoic principles and wish to explore more ways to cultivate wisdom, discipline, and peace of mind, we invite you to join us on this journey. Subscribe to our channel for more insights into Stoicism, ancient philosophy, and personal development. Together, we can grow in virtue, deepen our understanding, and strive toward a life of true inner strength. Thank you for watching, and may your path be one of wisdom, clarity, and unshakable calm. Stay strong, stay thoughtful, and above all, stay stoic. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next lesson.